All right, so as I have finished up the build for the most part of my tablet here, I wanted to show you guys some of the features. I don't have it plugged in right now. I had to get my carpets redone here in the studio, so everything is kind of a mess, but I wanted to show you what I have as far as completed on this. And I'm sorry for not having video of the build process when I cut apart the tablet, because that's a really critical point. I will say that I'll just mention some things about that and show you in the images. I hope you will pardon me for the poor image quality of these photos. I took them with my cell phone and it was dark and blurry because the camera just stinks. Anyway, I'll try to make up for it in description. So since I had built the tablet in my studio at the office, I wanted to take it home and see how portable it was. It was too heavy and bulky for portable, so it hasn't gone back home since. I was able to show my wife how I can draw on the screen like doing a drawing on paper, but with more control. She liked that. So once I started to actually cut this thing apart, I started using my sanding drum attached to my Dremel. I experimented to see how difficult it would be to sand down the grid shapes in the bottom side of the tablet's top cover. Remember, my original plan was to have the LCD screen inside the tablet with only the viewable area showing through the hole I would cut. This required the grid shapes to be sanded down to allow the LCD screen to be placed below. Next, I tested this using this engraving bit to poke a hole in the plastic, and that went through easily enough. So I started by using the Dremel along a straight line with a metal ruler clamped to the tablet cover. Sorry, there's no photo of that. I was getting into the project and forgot to take pictures. Anyway, it didn't work because it slipped off the straight edge of the ruler and cut a gash into the tablet. Even though I was going to cut it away anyway, I preferred having more control over where the cuts were to be placed. So I slowly took away pieces with the scroll saw instead. It was slow going because even though my larger blade was thick enough to cut the plastic, it was too hot, so it would seal right back up after it would cut it. And I ended up using the scroll saw in some places as more of a heater to melt the plastic by friction. You can see here that my lines were within the active area of the tablet that was formerly covered by the semi-transparent plastic sheet. Things were going well in keeping the LCD screen below until I ended up not being able to fit the LCD screen underneath the cover. It was just too thick. I had to open it up wider to accommodate the entire LCD screen. The way I was able to keep it straight on the finished edges was seen here by clamping a metal ruler to the cover and run the scroll saw along the ruler. Then I'd snap away the cut pieces because they were again melting, and it was remarkably smooth at that point. So here you see I've placed the cover around the LCD screen for the first time. It looks so cool with those express keys and the sliders and everything in place next to the monitor. And here is a shot of it propped up and working. It was an awesome weekend. My next job will be to construct a stand for it so it can stand up without being propped up, and you'll see that in the rest of the video. So back to the office for the next segment of the video. So anyway, here's what I've got so far, and it's completed, it's usable, it functions really well. It's nice to have the 21.5-inch screen inside the tablet so I can just draw right on the screen. That's really awesome. That's what I was going for, and again, I think my cost is around $200 just for these components. Granted, there was a learning curve, and I did have some things that I show in the video earlier that I ended up using parts from that other previous monitor that I purchased. But if you don't do dumb things like I did, and you don't need to break things, you don't need to replace them, then you could probably get by. And then again, of course, it's how much I was able to save by purchasing the pieces on eBay, and that's luck of the draw kind of thing. So I've got my camera here on a tripod, sort of. So I'm going to walk around a little bit with this and move it around. First, let's tilt it up a little so you can see the back side. And I still need to create a mount for it. Right now I have it just leaning on these monitor mounts from the previous monitors, the ones that I had taken apart. I've got this plate here, and this is the inside case where the all of the PVC boards and all of the controls for the previous monitor were housed. The Acer monitor that I have, that I showed the dismantling, is the board that's inside here. You can kind of see that it's this board inside. Actually, I just put the case for the electronics on the inside of this larger board, and the reason I did was because it has these VESA 75mm mounts that I can use to attach an arm or a stand or something to it. And I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to go for there, so that's why it's still in this rough state. I'm using DVI, and I've got VGA capability. Here's the power plug area. One thing I did was use the snap points, and you can see that in my build video. You can see where the snap point, I basically just broke it off and ran the LED, the ribbon for the LED. It's underneath this shielding here, and this shielding is just aluminum tape. So it comes in through behind the monitor, and then you can't see it back there. So it's under this panel, and it comes in behind the monitor and comes out this snap point. And the tablet itself has points where it has screws around the base, and then it also has these points where it's snapped together. Well, I just broke those off because they were in the way of my LCD ribbons and that control board that's right back here, and hopefully you saw that in the video. Anyway, so I ran that ribbon in here, and it connects right in there, and then the other ribbon, the one for the LCD screen itself, is almost straight back from this point, and that comes in, and that hooks in. Actually, maybe it's a little closer to this side because you can see some of the tape there for it. It's this. You can kind of see this bulge in the shielding. I could take it off and show you, but I don't want to have to lay the metal tape back on. So anyway, it's right here, and it comes in and hooks to the board just inside there. And then since the tablet had previously an LED that came through this hole, I just ran the controls with some double-sided sticky tape, and that just attaches there. I'm debating whether I'm going to change out these buttons because I flipped it over once, and as you can see, they're kind of broken, so I'm not too thrilled with that. Might work on that. I did get the touch strips and the buttons hooked back up to the Wacom circuit board in the back, the tablet functionality. And anyway, so here it is in all its glory. Sorry it's not turned on at the moment, but I've had some trouble with it, Now, I finished the build probably, let's see, I think I finished it over the weekend, and last thing's together on Monday, and today's Friday, so it's been less than a week, and I've already had some trouble with it. And I tried to address the issue by putting more shielding, well, not here at the top, but down here at the bottom, and you can see that. This, excuse me, see if I can tilt that down a little bit. So this line of the metal tape is to protect the shielding, because right back behind here is where the LED strip is, and that was causing some interference. And I'd run the stylus down, and I'd get, you know, in this area near the bottom, and it would just start jittering. It would have, you know, the jitter effect, and I wanted to stop that. And so what I did is I laid this a real thin, probably half an inch, maybe a centimeter or more strip of the tape, and I attached it to the back side of where that LED was, trying not to cover up this area of the board where I would want to have, you know, the tablet sensor emit and pick up my response. So I put that there, and the result is it worked fine for a while, but now when I get near this area, I'm about an inch from the bottom of the screen, it starts really, not just a little jitter, it just really goes nuts. So I'm going to take it apart and take a look and see if I haven't, you know, arced or shorted the board or something by the magnetic, or not magnetic, but the aluminum tape that I've put back here, and see if that hasn't, you know, caused problems with the board. I'm really going to be mad at myself if that's the case. So I'm not using this right now. I'm using a standby, the first one that I had tried, that I had started to build, and it's just this is a 13-inch by, excuse me, is it 12? Anyway, it's like 13 by 19-inch tablet board, and it's the A3, or the Intuos3. And that same year I have another one, but it's only the 9 by 12 size, and here's the case from it. And as you can see, I took it apart first, and, you know, I was working on a different option, putting in a 15-inch what is it, a UXGA, so 1600 by 1200 pixel monitor inside, so 15-inch monitor inside that one. I ended up breaking the case, and I'm not too thrilled with that either. So right now I'll show you that. Let me pause here. So here it is, and as you can see, well, you saw in that last part of the video that change the microphone a little bit so I can talk into it a little easier. That I have the top cover that I've broken apart and cut the hole, and it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. You learn as you go, right? So anyway, what I've done is I've just taken a piece of plexiglass, and this is actually from the inside of that broken, the first monitor that I had, which I broke. So again, learn as you go. Anyway, so right now it's just you know, draw on the tablet like this, and it works. I don't have the express keys, the functions, and the strip on either side, but I'm thinking of going minimalist with this one, and instead of putting a video screen in, just so I have a tablet that I can use that looks better than this, I'm thinking of putting a you know, a thin a plywood or hardwood veneer or something like that cover over this, and just using it as a regular draft or a drawing tablet. Right now it's, like I said, just stuck together with this double-sided tape and just laid on top here. But anyway, it doesn't need to be anything fancy. I've given up on the whole 15-inch version. So yeah, right now I just use it to draw on like that. Anyway, I will post in another video the result of what happens when I take this one apart and fix this jitter that I have, this really nasty at the bottom. In fact, it was getting so bad that there were times when the stylus just stopped working completely. So I'm really kind of worried that I may have destroyed this. But it's a learning experience, and I'm here to see if I can solve the problem of putting a screen inside the tablet, a DIY Wacom Cintiq or alternative. All right, thank you.